Now at 5 and streaming on crossroadstoday.com, attorneys cause another delay in a high-profile murder case, the courtroom issue that pushed back the pretrial again. Plus, Congressman Michael Cloud secures millions for a major Victoria project, the upgrade that is decades overdue. And a police sergeant fights for his life after a traffic stop goes wrong, the dramatic struggle caught on camera.
We'll be taking a look at your weather. Unfortunately, there's not a whole lot of change. In fact, we'll probably see the first triple digits in the next day or so. Stay tuned. We've got your weather forecast coming up in a moment.
And President Trump signs new legislation to help veterans today, the financial relief coming their way. You're watching 25 News now at 5. Good afternoon and thanks for being with us. I'm Shauna Curry. A high-profile murder case in Matagorda County is seeing yet another delay. 25 News Now reporter Ray Mosley has the latest on the case against Fernando Acosta Jr.
A pretrial hearing was set for Fernando Acosta Jr. today, but this case was delayed once again. Earlier this morning, there was a judge filling in for Judge Fortenberry. Fernando Acosta Jr.'s attorneys prefer to go before Judge Fortenberry and not to meet via Zoom call. Acosta was indicted on May 21st, 2021 for the murder of Amanda Johnson. Her remains were found in a burned SUV in Matagorda County. This murder trial has been reset several times now. Acosta is expected in court for that pretrial hearing on Wednesday, August 13th. Amanda Johnson is a single mother of two. She previously worked at a health club and was an elementary school teacher at Victoria ISD. She was just 38 years old. Reported in Matagorda County, Ray Mosley, KAVU-TV, 25 News Now.
As for today's hearing not happening, the district attorney provided an explanation. According to a letter from the defense team, there was a mix-up over which days a visiting judge would be presiding in the 130th District Court, pushing back the hearing now again to August 13th. And here's our viewer poll tonight. How do you feel about the repeated delays in the case against Fernando Acosta Jr.? Very concerned, somewhat concerned, not concerned, or undecided, or have no opinion? We want to hear from you. Visit crossroadstoday.com/vote to take part. And 92%, very overwhelming majority, are very concerned about the repeated delays in the case. Continue voting. We'll have another look at the numbers on 25 News Now at 6. Congressman Michael Cloud has secured $5.5 million in federal funding to help build a new terminal at Victoria Regional Airport. The funds are part of the Transportation, Housing and Urban Development and Related Agencies Appropriations Act 2026. The current terminal is over 30 years old and not designed to accommodate larger aircraft, stricter security standards, and increased passenger volume. This funding will build a modern 30,000 square foot terminal that can handle today's passenger and TSA needs. The bill still needs full House and Senate approval. As we've been following Citizens Medical Center's request for the county to issue debt to fund its ICU expansion, we asked the hospital for its financial records from the past 5 years. The numbers show Citizens has operated at a loss for the past 3 years. In 2022, the hospital reported a $4.7 million loss that grew to $8.1 million in 2023. And in 2024, they reported a $3.5 million loss in operating income. And we're learning more details about the violation in Victoria ISD's cosmetology program. According to information shared by the district today, the violation was found during an inspection in November 2023, with corrections made immediately. The district says it was notified of the monetary penalty in May of this year, and the $3,000 penalty was paid in June. Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation reported it on July 2nd. Mother Nature is flirting with the 100-degree mark. Let's go to Mac Perez for a first look at our forecast. And Mac, we just keep inching up and inching up on that thermometer.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I'm sure the sidewalk's at about 100 degrees. So, I mean, we're just sort of playing with the numbers here. There is, of course, high pressure over us, giving us the very hot weather. But as you can see on this map right here, there's a kind of another little surge of tropical moisture that's going to have a chance to drift into our area. And for the next day or so. That would be Thursday, Friday. We've got a chance of a few afternoon sprinkles. That's about it. It still stays hot. And then we'll talk about what next week may hold. And we'll also take a look at the tropics. All that coming up in just a few minutes. Shauna, back to you.
In an interview with the Texas Tribune, Texas A&M University System Chancellor Glenn Hagar said he wants to help students complete college and expressed skepticism about the effectiveness of now defunct DEI programs. To read this full Texas Tribune article, visit crossroadstoday.com. A police sergeant fights for his life after a suspected truck thief steals his patrol vehicle. Take a look. Segoville Police Sergeant Ethan Sinclair responded to a crash in the Dallas suburb where Brandon Booth had just crashed a stolen pickup. When Sinclair orders Booth to show his hands, the suspect jumps into the sergeant's police SUV instead. Sinclair leaps onto the moving vehicle as Booth reverses and accelerates. The 2-minute struggle ends when a second officer arrives to help subdue Booth.
Then he ends up doubling back, see him grab the squad car door, and my mind just goes racing. And so the first thing I do is jump on top of him.
The suspect has an active parole violation warrant and more than 20 arrests dating back to 2006. Sinclair suffered a busted lip and injured ankle, but says the fight was worth preventing Booth from hurting others. The 8-year veteran calls this the most dangerous situation of his career. Vehicle thefts are on the rise in Victoria, and police are keeping a close eye on the trend. The city saw 86 thefts in 2023. That number jumped to 92 last year, and so far in 2025, there have been 32 reported cases. Drivers are encouraged to stay vigilant, take simple steps to deter thieves, like locking doors and securing valuables. President Trump is trying to make it easier for veterans to keep their homes. Trump signed a bill today which provides relief to veterans who have fallen behind on their mortgages. A White House official says the legislation will modernize the VA home loan program by creating a safety net for veterans in financial hardship. A big community celebration in Beeville is helping students get ready to head back to school. The Back to School Bash is happening this Saturday, August 2nd. From 11 to 3 at Coastal Bend College. Students can grab free backpacks and school supplies, plus enjoy food trucks, vendors, and special guests. It's all happening at the James R. Doherty Student Union Building, thanks to Telemundo Victoria, Coastal Bend College, and the city of Beeville. And here are some of the top headlines you can read in the Port Lavaca Wave. Due to ongoing construction and repairs to Memorial Medical Center's roof, the Calhoun County Commissioner's Court waived ambulance transfer fees to the Calhoun County Airport. And the Calhoun County Library Summer Reading Program reaches new records. To read these stories and more, go to portlavacawave.com. And remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell. Stay with us. Straight ahead on 25 News Now at 5. A new study reveals what you're really breathing every day. The surprising number that will change how you see air. And a popular drink brand issues a voluntary recall. We'll have more on the mislabeling mix-up that has the FDA involved. Taking a deep breath of fresh air might not be as fresh as you think. A new study finds that we are inhaling nearly 70,000 microplastic particles a day, tiny bits so small they can reach deep into our lungs. Researchers say this invisible pollution comes from everyday items like furniture, carpets, and clothing breaking down over time. They collected air samples from cars and apartments, and the takeaway is to try to limit plastic use when you can, especially the single-use stuff. High Noon is voluntarily recalling its vodka seltzer after some cases were mislabeled as Celsius energy drinks. The Food and Drug Administration said cases of High Noon's beach variety shipped from July 21st to the 23rd contained cans of its vodka-based seltzer that were mislabeled. The FDA said no illnesses or adverse events have been reported. More information is available on the FDA's website. Nicotine pouches are flooding the market as a popular way to get a nicotine fix. But a new study shows the dangers these products are posing to young children who find and unintentionally ingest them. In today's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither looks at the data and has more with the study's co-author on how to keep children safe.
In the U.S., sales of nicotine pouches have skyrocketed from 126 million pouches sold in August 2019 to 808 million sold in March 2022.
There's been an explosion of nicotine products in recent years. And we also know that there is a paucity of data looking at what happens to young children when they get into these products.
Dr. Hannah Hayes with Nationwide Children's Hospital is co-author of a study aimed at the dangers of these products in little hands. The researchers found that between 2020 and 2023, unintentional nicotine pouch ingestion calls to U.S. poison centers surged 763% for children younger than 6 years old.
And this is while ingestion rates for other nicotine products declined.
Hayes says unintentional nicotine ingestion by a child can lead to nausea, vomiting, fast heart rates, high blood pressure, and in extreme cases, seizures, respiratory failure, even death. To keep children safe, Hayes says to safely and securely store these products up and away from children and out of sight, preferably in a place that can be locked, and avoid using these products in front of children, especially if they're packaged to look like treats.
I also recommend that parents save the Poison Help number in their phone or post it in a visible place in their home and call right away if you expect a child or loved one has been exposed to a medication or drug product.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
You can reach poison experts at U.S. Poison Control Centers online at poison.org or by phone at 1-800-222-1222. The agency says both options are free and confidential. Well, the Home of Metal is saying goodbye to one of its legends. Thousands of fans lined the streets of Birmingham, England today to honor Ozzy Osbourne, frontman of Black Sabbath, who died last week at 76. His hearse made its way down Broad Street to the Black Sabbath bench with a live brass band leading the way. The city where the band formed back in 1968 has fully embraced its role as the birthplace of heavy metal, and Ozzy was its godfather. Well, aftershocks are being reported after a powerful 8.8 magnitude earthquake struck off the coast of Russia. It triggered tsunami warnings across the Pacific from Alaska to California. Those warnings have now expired. We're also getting new video of the moment it hit. ABC's Christiane Cordero is in Los Angeles with more.
Today, the ebb and flow of a major disaster that started in Russia put millions of people on alert.
It's one of the largest earthquakes to occur in recorded history.
In Russia's Far East coastal towns, a relentless surge of seawater triggered by the magnitude 8.8 earthquake offshore carried buildings and forced people to seek higher ground. Video posted online shows the moment the quake hit a shorefront seafood processing plant. Cars, even a crane, heavily rocking back and forth. That same area later seen inundated by water. The disaster's ripple effect sending tsunami warnings across the Pacific Rim. 2 million people in Japan were under an evacuation order that was later lifted with no damage reported. And people in Hawaii also took precaution. Flights to the islands were canceled last night as residents and tourists sought higher ground.
There were police officers driving up and down the main street in front of the beach, telling people to leave.
The evacuation orders led to gridlock on roads from Oahu to Maui.
Oh my Lord.
In this time-lapse video from Half Moon Bay, California, you can see the boats going up and down with the waves. With the threat now receding, no major damage has been reported anywhere in the U.S. One part of the U.S. closely monitored was Crescent City, California, in the far northern region of the state. It was the only part of the West Coast that was still under a tsunami warning as of early this morning, but it was canceled hours later with no major damage reported. Christiane Cordero, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Here are some of the top headlines in the Cuero record. Longtime DeWitt County Judge Daryl Fowler officially announces his decision not to seek a sixth term of office. And the Yorktown varsity and junior high cheerleading squads shine at a UCA cheer camp. To read these stories and more, visit DeWittCountyToday.com.
Another scorcher over the crossroads as the hot weather rolls on. High pressure on top of us is shown little signs of moving, so there's a little bit of a change. Other than that, it's just going to be on the hot side. 99 right about now. I'm pretty sure that's going to stay as our high temperature for the day, but I did see 101 down in Port Lavaca, so you know what we're talking about. These temperatures are above seasonal, even though season is pretty warm. We'll be talking about the chance for some showers in the next couple of days, and then take a look at next week. All that coming up. Well, good afternoon, everyone. We take a look at our satellite picture because there we see a little bit of a change right about here. Other than that, as you know, in summertime, things move very slowly in weather. It's just hot all the time. But you can see right about here what we had in the last even 2 weeks. We've had these little pockets of moisture that sort of drift across and give us a shower activity. This happened last weekend and looks like it's going to happen in the next 2 days. So we take a look at the slightly bigger picture. What has really changed is that the center of the dome of hot air has actually shifted over to Georgia, as you can see right here. So that leaves this little weakness here. We call it an inverted trough, but you can see the little line going up and down. And under that is where that moisture is going to drift into our region. So tomorrow, I think you'll see a few more clouds than today, and we may pop 1 or 2 little afternoon showers. It's still going to be hot. I mean, it's not really going to cool us down. What is happening, though, however, for the Midwest, you know, we had the heat wave up in Chicago. Well, they finally got a break. This frontal system is slowly moving down, giving the upper Midwest a break, but the southeast continues on the brutal side of temperatures. So as I mentioned yesterday, these gray areas here, every time we drive our car, we throw pollution out the back end of the exhaust pipe, right? It's just every day. But every day, the atmosphere is able to blow that stuff away because of a strong wind. Well, the wind is so light and the air is so hot and heavy, and it's not mixing, and therefore the pollution that Houston is making is sort of hanging in the air. And so Dallas and Houston are under what we call an ozone watch. And you know what you do in an ozone watch? You do nothing. You stay home. You don't drive. You keep the windows closed, and hopefully if fewer people are out there, we'll get lower atmospheric levels of ozone, which is the problem. But as I mentioned, the heat wave is breaking here, but it continues down south. Chicago, Iowa, North Dakota, they all got a break. But St. Louis, no break. Memphis, no break. It's just hot all the way down. And, you know, humidity is also in there as well. We take a look at Doppler radar. Nothing happening for us right now. We understand that. But we're looking for this stuff coming in through Louisiana. This is the pocket of moisture that should drift over our area over the weekend. Well, actually the next 2 days, and give us a slight chance of a sprinkle or two. Other than that, the only really good stormy weather is up here that is producing the change, big change in the heat wave up there. Heat index continues on the warm side, and you know, I mean, you feel this. You know, if the heat index were 95, you'd go, oh, it's not bad. You feel 105. That's what we did today, and it'll be up to 107 over the weekend. The reason here is a little bit lower is because of the clouds, but after the clouds go away on Sunday, we spike back up. Not a lot of change. There's going to be another round of fog tomorrow morning. If that's concerning you, then just consider that it'll be only around here till 8 or 9 o'clock, and then it burns off completely because all that warm air sinks all the way down to the bottom. And here's a real good indication. This is tonight. This is the humidity as it rolls in and then rolls out. You see that? That's it at night. And in the daytime, it's just hot and low humidity is down to 20–30%. So we are looking at the forecast for Port Lavaca for tomorrow. You're looking at a high temperature of 96, lots of sun, and a high of about 97 in the Cuero area. And for the weekend, well, it's just hot. We've got that 20% chance for Thursday, Friday, none for the weekend, and temperatures still staying up to very close to the triple digits. That's your 7-day forecast, reminding everybody we do have a QR code. Love for you to scan that. Put Crossroads Today on your phone. Here's Shauna.
All right, even if we don't hit that triple digits, still hot out there. So
That's right.
Stay hydrated. Well, still to come, new tariffs could impact what you pay for everyday items. The Trump administration's latest trade move next. Stocks ended the day mixed as the Federal Reserve held interest rates steady. The Dow lost 172 points, the S&P 500 fell 8 points, and the Nasdaq gained 31 points. Oil is up $1.09 to $70.30 per barrel. JCPenney has found a cash buyer for some of its stores. A Boston private equity firm, Onyx Partners Limited, is planning to buy 119 stores for $947 million. All of the locations included in the deal are currently operational. It comes after about 5 years after the retailer filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. The deal is set to close on September 8th. The money will go to JCPenney's creditors. Friday, August 1st, is the day when President Trump's new tariff rates are set to go into effect for dozens of countries that have not reached trade deals with the U.S. Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell says he would like to see how those tariffs will affect inflation before making any changes to interest rates. This as new government data shows the economy defied fears of a tariff-related downturn. ABC's Ike Ijiaki has more.
Stocks opened higher today as Wall Street got better than expected GDP data. The Commerce Department says the economy grew by an annual rate of 3% in the second quarter.
It's really one of the best GDP announcements or releases that you could imagine, because there's blockbuster growth, way above expectation, and there's also a real almost collapse in inflation.
But economists warn that the GDP data reflects tariff-related swings in trade and that the overall economic outlook isn't as good as it appears. Businesses purchased fewer imports in the second quarter after earlier stocking up on foreign products to get ahead of possible tariffs. Meanwhile, despite mounting criticism from President Trump for Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell to cut interest rates.
We haven't lowered ours at all. He's a stiff. He's a knucklehead. Well, I'd love him to lower interest rates. But other than that, what can I tell you? He should cut. A smart person would cut. We're keeping the rates high, and it's hurting people from buying houses, and we don't want that.
The Fed left interest rates unchanged. Powell taking a wait-and-see approach, holding out to see if tariffs affect inflation.
Higher tariffs have begun to show through more clearly to prices of some goods, but their overall effects on economic activity and inflation remain to be seen.
Trump says he'll impose a 25% tariff on India. Now, the president says although India is our friends, its tariff on U.S. goods are too high. Now, according to the Census Bureau, the United States had a $45.8 billion trade deficit with India last year, which means it imported more than it exported. Ike Ijiaki, ABC News, New York.
President Trump is slapping new tariffs on imported copper, a 50% tariff on things like pipes, wires, and sheets starting August 1st. He says it will boost the U.S. copper industry and is also using the Defense Production Act to keep more U.S.-made copper materials here at home. The U.S. imported $17 billion in copper last year. Critics warn the move could drive up prices on everything from electronics to cars. Women are flipping the script in a male-dominated sport. We'll have the surprising game where they're making their mark coming up next.
Millions on alert. A massive 8.8 earthquake triggering tsunami warnings for parts of the U.S. Plus, the dangerous, life-threatening heat. How long the brutal temps will last as severe storms sweep across the country. World News Tonight with David Muir is the most watched newscast in America.
A Wichita, Kansas women's pinball league is breaking barriers in the male-dominated arcade world. The ICT Ballbusters formed in 2023 to create competitive opportunities for female players. The group meets weekly at local arcades and competes through the International Flipper Pinball Association. That's really a thing. One member recently claimed a state championship title. The director says the league welcomes players of all skill levels and builds community among women who want to compete. The team hopes to inspire more women to enter competitive pinball and show young girls they belong in the game. I didn't realize that there's actually a strategy to pinball. I thought you just had to hit the flippers and hope to, you know.
No. See, that's a lot more skill than those electronic games because you don't know what it's going to do. Here, you know the ball's coming. You physically feel it, and you got to go that way. And then
you got to hit the right bumpers.
Yeah,
and,
well, yes, and you got to get the extra points, and you got to get more points than the other guy. That's a science, let me tell you.
Yeah.
I did a lot of that in high school. Well, anyway, folks, for us, the heat rolls on. Try and find a piece of shade or a cool spot to go visit because we're looking at
a pinball arcade.
Or a pinball. Do we have any left?
We actually do have a retro one here.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Funny, I didn't know that. I would know that stuff, you know. That's a good place to cool down as well because we're looking at triple digits probably somewhere in the next 3 or 4 days. So try and stay cool.
All right, we'll try. Very hard. We'll try. Well, thanks for joining us. Our next newscast is in just 30 minutes after World News Now with David Muir. We'll see you back here at 6.